So I have a dilemma, and if you've been watching the past few videos, you would know essentially what I have to say, but essentially I need a new chunky boy. And let me explain what that. I wrote that down in my notes, not thinking anything of it. I realized saying it out loud sounds way different. Let me explain. So I'm a YouTuber, right? And I have devices that allow me to make YouTube videos. One of my main drivers right now is a thing called a MacBook. I can't pick it up. It's connected to stuff right now. One of my main drivers is a MacBook Air. And it does a lot of the basics, right? It does basic video editing. It does some recording that I might need to do. And a lot of the less powerful stuff. It does all of that. The problem is I don't know if this MacBook is capable of dealing with the chunkier projects that I want to do, which is maybe longer videos, maybe more intense videos, stuff that has higher resolution. I don't know if my MacBook can essentially handle all that, right? It's a MacBook M3, 24 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage, which is fine for a lot of basic stuff. If you're doing 10-minute videos daily like I am, this is gonna be enough. This would be enough. But I think just as I'm going about the 10-minute videos daily, I feel myself wanting just a bit more power and a bit less wait time for things to load and the media to encode and things to export, you know, that kind of thing. So I essentially find myself feeling like I'm lacking in power when it comes to just my editing software. So one thing, if you don't know, I have a PC that I like to believe is more powerful than the MacBook currently, but the problem is this PC is essentially on its last legs. I don't think it functions good anymore. Like I've had too many problems with this PC for me to justify wanting to keep using it and just overlook these problems. With the MacBook, I have had basically like no problems. This thing handles everything smoothly. It is great. Again, the place where I feel like I'm lacking the most is just in raw power. And because I don't want to use this PC anymore, I want to get something else. I want to get something new. I want to get something better. So I've been looking at prices for different Macs. And the thing with Macs is, you know, they're expensive, but they are powerful and reliable. I've been trying to find specs that are in my price range but are also powerful enough to cover me for years to come. And each of these products have significant enough trade-offs to where I cannot decide between them. So I'm gonna go over like the pros and cons of each individual product and walk you through my thought process, because right now I don't know. I don't know what to even pick. I don't even know which one's the right one. And we'll get to why I can't decide in a little bit. I just want to go through 3 different products that I'm looking at to explain to you my thought process. So first up is the Mac Mini. For one, the price is freaking awesome. For $599, you get 16 gigs of RAM and about 125 gigs of storage, which I'm not worried at all about gigabyte storage. Apple charges way too much for storage. And secondly, I can buy an external SSD that would, you know, plug into the Mac Mini and give me a terabyte of storage for a much cheaper price. And because I'm not paying for a screen, a camera, a keyboard, all that other stuff, I'm essentially just paying for the computer itself, which is, I would believe, is like why it's so cheap, which I think is it's great. I've been hearing a lot of things from you know, big YouTubers about how the M4 Mac Mini is a great deal. The biggest problem though with the Mac Mini is that it's not portable. And there's a second side problem that I have, but the big thing is that it's not portable. I need to be able to move around on the stuff that I use. I take this MacBook to 3 different locations in my own house because I need a different way to use it. Sometimes I'm in bed, sometimes I'm standing, sometimes I'm sitting here at this desk to work. So I'm moving this MacBook around. That's the biggest problem. And there's one solution I could probably come up with to circumvent this kind of problem, which is find a way to get the Mac Mini to project onto my MacBook so I can use the Mac Mini while I'm in my bed or on the standing desk. The problem with that is I've seen just a few solutions to this where it's like, you have to extend the display onto this thing. I don't know about that. And I've seen some solutions to that kind of problem. I don't know how I feel about those workarounds. Or I don't want to haul like a big old monitor around with me just for the Mac Mini. I just want a smooth experience and I don't want to worry about technical issues. I just want to plug and play at this point. That's all I really want to do right now. So after that, there is the MacBook Airs, the new ones, the M5 MacBook Airs. They just came out a few days ago and they're available for pre-order right now. They'll actually be out in like a few more days, I guess. But those seem pretty okay. For one, they're portable and they're actually the perfect size. The new ones currently, or at least, you know, even the older ones, older models, they're not much more powerful than the MacBook that I have, and that's kind of a bummer. It's like, I'm gonna pay more money for just a bit more power? That's not really what I want to do here. I want something bigger, bulkier, Not physically, but I mean just like something that can definitely handle like bigger video files, like 4K 60 FPS. Just something that could reliably handle a big majority of things that I throw at it. I'm not gonna handle 8K footage. I'm gonna maybe handle 4K footage. So if I want to upgrade to the MacBook Airs and I see that they're not much more powerful than my current MacBook, I'm thinking, what's the point? And compare that to the Mac Mini, where I'm also paying now for a screen and a keyboard and a camera. Things that I don't really need. I have all of those right now. I just don't want to pay for that again. And you know, when it comes to the cost, I could sell this MacBook. If I got a new MacBook, I would sell this old one and to get a huge chunk of that money back, which I can live with, but it's still like, I don't know. Now, but what I have been looking at are the MacBook Pros, and while they're a good chunk more expensive, they do have the power and the relative portability that I'm kind of looking for, with the caveat of, like I said, not being as portable, as well as being very, very expensive. Now, the sizes for the MacBook Pros are not much bigger than the current MacBook Airs. My MacBook Air is 13 inches. The smallest MacBook Pro is 14 inches. If there was a MacBook Pro that was 13 inches, that I would take that. I would buy that, whatever it took in a heartbeat. I don't like bigger laptops. So when it comes to the current MacBooks, I'm just worried that it's gonna be a bit too big or a bit too bulky. And I don't really wanna deal with that. I just want the same size with just a chunk more power. It's just kind of all I'm asking, which, there's no real solution to this. And despite Apple having a ton of options in terms of RAM and storage and chipset and all that stuff, it sucks that there's no middle ground. There's no middle ground for the things that I specifically want, which you can never have that in life, but like, damn, bro, like it's a big expense. I'd like to have more options. I don't know about you. So yeah, do you see what I mean? Like the MacBook Mini is probably the best deal, but it's also not as portable, which I really, really need. There's also the MacBook Airs, which, are the size that I really want, but not as powerful as I would like them to be. The MacBook Pros are the power that I want, the size I kind of don't want, and the price I really don't want. So essentially, I have to pick my poison on a thing that I have to live with moving forward. Which again, I'm just trying to minimize the wait times of exporting and media encoding and all that stuff. I want to minimize all that and just make the workflow as fast and as good as possible for the best deal as possible. But obviously that's like the trade-off that I have to have. Besides the point, I'm just trying to make the process of making YouTube videos as smooth as possible and as frictionless as possible. And so that's the dilemma that I have. So guys, let me know if like this video was like kind of douchey or something. Like this is like a first world problem thing. Like, oh, I can't decide between this computer and this computer. Oh no. And look, I'm not trying to flaunt wealth or nothing like that. I'm not well off like that at all. I'm going to sell a lot of these devices anyway so I can get the money back. All of this is just to say, like, I'm just trying to find a replacement for this old PC that is just not really like working well anymore. And so I'm gonna maybe dismantle this, salvage this for parts and sell them on eBay or something like that. If you don't know, watch my PC problems video. But other than that, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out.